Hi everybody, all my followers, be welcome to another video. So the video today is on this 2007 Discovery 3 Land Rover TDV6, I think it is. Not sure what the engine is on this, but to be fair with you, it's not very important from what I was told the problem is. So let's gonna get inside the car and I will show you what the problem is. Well, it's not showing the problem. I think we're gonna have to go for a quick drive to see what the car does, but we'll do that and then we'll proceed. So the car runs okay, and apparently what happens is that when you start to drive, after a little bit, it told me 30 seconds driving, sometimes not even that the parking brake light comes on. At the moment it's off because the parking brake is not engaged, but if I engaged parking brake, the light comes on and the parking brake works, but he said that light comes on along with some other light, which he couldn't really explain me. He said there's a light somewhere in there that comes on as well. Oh no, sorry, ESP light, that's what he said. So what we're going to do, we're going to go for a quick drive at the end of the road and we'll see if we can see what happens. Okay, so the first thing that happens is that before any lights comes on, you can feel the ABS pump kicking in, even without me braking. When that happens, the ESP light starts to flash as if the ESP is being engaged. Then after that, we get all these warnings. So we get that orange light or yellow light in there, and we get that one in there for the suspension, and you get in there, and the suspension of the car automatically lowers. And that was it. So I'm starting to get a good idea of what might be going on. So what we're going to do, we're going to load some live data on the MS908 and we'll see if we can figure out what's wrong. So Inez is going to do that. Inez, load the data so we can look at it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at, there's a few codes in there that I believe they are not really from now. They are probably old codes or something along those lines. We'll have to clear all those codes. But the first thing I want to check, although one of the codes might be related to the issue, but the first thing we're going to do is make sure all the wheels are reading the same speed, because that could be one of the issues. So we have here all the wheel speeds, and we're just gonna look at them while I'm driving. Okay, let's drive. And as you can see, they are pretty much, I'm gonna accelerate a little bit. They are pretty much all reading the same, as you can see. So I'm driving straight, so they're all reading pretty much the same. As you can see, no big difference. So I don't think the wheel speed sensors are the issue. So we're gonna look through the live data, see if we see anything else that can be causing this issue. Okay, and all I had to do was scroll down, and as you can see there, steering angle 94 degrees, nearly 95, when my steering is pretty much straight. Look, I'm going to show you. So driving straight. Okay, I only moved a few meters, but doesn't really matter. So as you can see, so it looks like we might have a steering angle sensor issue. So let's gonna recalibrate the sensor and see what happens. Okay, just finished the steering angle calibration, did a auto scan and clear all the codes. Everything came back for now with no fault. There's one fault on the air conditioning, probably air conditioning discharged, most likely. If it's not that, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. But there we go. I need to play the lottery. Okay, so now I think it's time to turn the ignition off, start it up, and see what happens. Okay, I've been for a drive. As you can see, my steering angle still absolutely perfect. As you can see, however, we have a new light, and I'll show you. Now the other lights never came back on. I drove just normal, around corners, whatever. That's been absolutely fine, but in the meantime that code came back. Not came back, that light came on. I was never, well, that light usually used to come on as well with the other one anyway, but, and the trouble codes, what you're going to see here is lost communication with right level control module, which this is actually an incorrect description of the code. All it means is there is a code on my right level control module. I already seen what the code is, so I will show you. So pressure increases too slow when filling reservoir. But these guys is a completely different problem than what we had initially. It's nothing to do with what the car was doing. What the car was doing was purely because the steering angle was not calibrated correctly. So it was saying was 95 degrees or whatever when it was straight, which means the steering will be somewhere like this, going straight. So the car, so at this angle the car was expecting to see different wheel speeds because you would be turning, but because we're seeing all the wheels at the same speed, was thinking that wheels were either running too fast or too slow, and would kick in the ESP, and in the meantime would throw a fault because obviously it would detect that something was wrong. So that part is fixed. Now we need to try to figure out what's wrong with this, but I think this will make into a different video, and I think we all can start to guess what that means. So okay, and what I've decided to do is, because the initial video that you just have seen up to now was so short, that I've decided that I will include everything on this video. So we sorted the first problem, as you have seen, and what we're going to do now is we're going to sort the suspension one. So basically guys, it doesn't matter what I do now. As soon as I clear the code, I can hear the compressor kicking in, I can feel the car start to raise, and then within a few seconds I get that warning and I get the same code again, I'm gonna guess. I just did it now, and I'm just gonna show you. There we go. So unless the car, so we're gonna try once more just for me to show you, and unless the car is, but it doesn't really matter, because I'm gonna do it with the engine running. Okay, the compressor is running. I can hear the compressor running. Car is definitely raising very slowly, but there we go, and it comes up again. Okay, so I'm guessing either the compressor is bad or we have a leak somewhere. I'm not sure about the leak, because, well, we could have a leak, that's for sure. I think, what am I gonna do? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to park the car inside again, because I'm here on the road. On the road, I think I'm going to park the car inside again. I'm going to try to do this, clear the faults until I manage to get the car at least on the normal height suspension. I don't know why the fault was not there before. I mean, maybe because before was coming up straight away. So maybe because before was coming up straight away with all the other ones, he was unaware of this one. So actually, before I do anything, I'm gonna have to ring the guy and see what he wants me to do, because, well, yeah, I need to ring him first, because he might doesn't want me to touch these, I don't know. Give me a second. Okay, and we have the go ahead to fix it, so that's what we're gonna do. So guys, what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to carry on clearing the fault until I manage to get the car to the normal suspension height. I might try to see if I can go all the way up to off-road, and then I'm going to leave it until the morning, and I want to see what happens in the morning. If we have a drop on the car, then we do know there is a leak, and maybe the compressor is struggling to obviously pump the suspension and keep up with the leak at the same time. If it doesn't drop, we could still have a leak between the valves and the compressor itself, but that's something else we need to try to figure out. So let's not going to jump ahead. I'm not going to be able to do a lot now. especially because it'll be late as well. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, and then we'll carry on the next clip for you. Okay guys, next day is about 11 o'clock in the morning. I've done what I'm going to show you. Yesterday it was about 5:30 or 6 o'clock, somewhere around there. And there is actually very good news. So what I've done is I put this tape on the four corners to see if this would drop overnight. And I'm glad to say that the tape is still pretty stretched on all the four corners. Not stretch, but it's still the same as I left it yesterday when I put it in. So this is very good news. So this means that we have, see, all good. So this means that we have no leaks on the one. We have no leaks on the airbags on the suspension, which is a good sign. And it also means that the pipework between each one of the airbags up to the valves at least, they are also good, which is a very, very good sign. So I think the next thing we're going to focus on is going to be on the compressor itself. We could have indeed a leak somewhere between the valves and the compressor at the front, at the back. I think the compressor is right there at the back on the other side, just somewhere in there, but on the other side. I think is where it is, and I can only imagine it's going to be all rusted, or it's going to be a nightmare. But we'll do our best to get to it. Yeah, and once we take the compressor out, we'll do some other checks, or we might check if it's easy accessible to check in there to see if we can figure out where the leaks are, and all that good stuff. So yeah, there's really some work to do. Okay, and I ended up not even touching this thing on the day of the previous clip. This is actually 3-4 days later. I just left nights this morning, and I just thought to take you through just quickly again, just so in case there's any doubts that from the previous clip that these might drop. So this is now 5 days later from when I initially stopped. I haven't started the car, I haven't done nothing to it, and as you can see, it's still pretty stretched, as you can see there. Nothing really dropped. And I'll show you all the four corners, as you can see. There we go. This is really not dropping at all. This is a very, very good sign. Obviously the tape is getting slack because the tension is losing the tension slightly, but it's still pretty straight, all four corners, which is a very good sign. So yeah, as I said on the previous clip, looks like there is no leaks on these airbags, which is a very, very good sign. And that's about it really. So we're going to do what I've said on the previous clip. We're going to get into this unit and try to see if we can find any problems with it. Okay, so as you can imagine, everything was rusted underneath. I only removed the cover underneath, but I wanted to show you this quickly. So it's going to ask for the normal suspension right there. Oops, I pressed that button. So it's running. We're going to close the door. Can you hear the motor running? And the strange thing is, it's running, but there is no signs of any pressure being built, if that makes sense. This is getting hot. Well, there is a leak here somewhere. You can feel air coming out. can nearly feel it, or it's just me. No, there is an air leak here somewhere. There is a leak here somewhere. Looks like it's here. Looks like it's right here. There is a leak. Let me try to investigate a little bit further, guys. Okay, might not be completely fixed, but let me see what happens, and I'll explain in a second what I've done. I'm not gonna lie, it's not going too fast. And it stopped. Did it stop because it was full, or did it stop with a fault? No, it didn't stop with a fault. That's a very good sign. So what's the pressure that the gallery requires? And have a look. It requires, but it is dropping, so there is a leak still. Yeah, it shouldn't be dropping like this. Oh, and I still can't feel it leaking now. Of course not. Right, so it fills the gallery okay. It's gonna be this gallery here. This is a air reservoir, if you want, if you will. So I fixed this leak here by cutting about 3 millimeters at the end of the pipe and just push it back in. So this rubber seal now is in a different place and it looks like it's sealed. Obviously the way it works is when the pump runs, this valve here opens and forward the air pressure into the reservoir, and then when the reservoir reaches the pressure, the valve closes, and there is a dump valve, which I believe is this valve as well, that obviously dumps the air to take the pressure between these and here. So there's no pressure on this pipe now. The pressure is only here when it's filling the reservoir. Only problem is it's dropping a little bit too fast, I think. I think it's dropping a little bit too fast, in my opinion. Let me see what we're gonna find out. Okay guys, and I'm just gonna bite the bullet and remove the reservoir. It's sealed for 2 or 3 cycles, then it starts to leak again exactly in that point, which is I showed you, but I'll show you again. Oh, so it's leaking right. It's leaking right there on the outfeed of this blue pipe, right here on this connector is leaking, and obviously that's where the air comes out to fill the reservoir. I'm not sure if you should drop the pressure that quick, but once I have all that out, I can then smoke test the rest of the system, but for now it's removing the pump. Right, with the jack here, it's going to be a little bit tricky, so I'm not going to try to lift it up a little bit more and just put it on the stand and remove the jack, otherwise the jack is going to be kind of off on the way. So hopefully guys, this won't be much more than a compressor replacement, most likely, because the compressor is not new. Even if we try to fix that leak, probably the compressor is not going to be 100% anymore. I'll have to speak with the owner, see what he wants to do. If he wants me to attempt to repair these, or if he wants me to bring a replacement. I will see how it goes. Okay, and it is like 10 minutes later, so I removed the pump, which is right there, and 10 minutes later, when I remove the pipe that goes into the reservoir, it's still pressure in there, which is not a bad sign really. Definitely plenty of pressure in there. Yeah, there is definitely plenty of pressure on the reservoir, that's for sure. Okay guys, and after a lot of smoke, there is definitely no leaks. I got it up to about 2 bars in there, which is, how much is 2 bars? It's about 2 bars is about 25 psi's, maybe just a little bit more, and I could not really make anything to smoke anywhere, so I put the pressure and smoke on this pipe here, which is the one that goes to the rear valves, to the rear diverter valve, that obviously puts pressure on the 2 rear airbags. I put it on this one, which is the one that goes to the front, same thing, that splits the air to the 2 front airbags, and obviously to the reservoir. Okay, there's only 3 pipes. Then you have here, this is the one is the air, what you call it, is the air section, so here's where he's going to get the clean air, and the other one is going to be the dump valve, where he dumps the air through, and the way it works. So the pressure comes through here. Okay, this is just a pressure sensor that measures the pressure in the gallery. Okay, so the pressure comes through here, and then this pipe here puts the pressure into the, so that goes like this. I think this is to the rear airbags, this is to the front, this one here at the top, this valve here, this is a solenoid, this valve opens, as you can see there, it comes through there, the pressure comes through there, this valve opens and allows the gallery to fill. When everything is done, this valve closes, and when this valve closes, obviously as you've seen, then the dump valve, which is this valve here opens and releases the pressure inside this area and inside the compressor, the piston. So next time the pump starts, there is no pressure in the piston. A rather simple system, to be honest with you, but it looks like all my problems are here. I can't see a leak on the reservoir. Not say it's not going to be a pin leak somewhere. I haven't seen any smoke come out, so the thing is quite rusty. I'm not really sure how quick that gallery pressure should drop. I'm going to try to find out to see if there is any information. Some cars, like maybe the software, maybe SSD would show me. I know Mercedes shows me how quick that should drop, and if it drops quicker than it should, it let me know. I'm not sure about this system on the Land Rover, but honestly, I'm gonna ring the guy, tell him we have a leak here still. Anyway, so am I gonna take this cap off just to see if there's anything visible? I know these things sometimes they crack as well. Don't know if this is the case, doesn't look like, but right, let me see how we're gonna do this. Okay guys, and after I had a look at this a little bit, I'm not sure if the leak was through this rubber seal in this middle insert, whether the hose goes, or if it's right here on the edge. This is like just push fitted in here. You can't replace these things. My only other option was to try to pull this out, open the thread and put one that would thread in, but I don't know if I'm gonna have enough material there to open a thread. And now you can get repair kits where you buy these covers with these new things here, with these new air adapters here, whatever. You can get those repair kits, but I spoke with the guy's up to just get a brand new pump. He's going to get a second-hand pump, he's going to get an aftermarket pump, but that's what he's going to get. He prefers to do it that way. What else? And he's going to get me this valve as well. This valve doesn't seem to be leaking, at least, but for the sake of £30, I told him if he wants to replace it. I said to him, you don't have to. This one looks like it's okay, but he said, I'll get it, it's not a problem. So we're going to replace this as well. And again, guys, as I said, smoke tested everything, doesn't seem to be any leaks. As you can see now, the rear suspension is disconnected completely from here, so the only thing that is holding the car in the air is the valve, the diverter valve, that is somewhere, I think the front is somewhere in front of the liner on the other side, I think it is, or on this side, I think it is. But anyway, as you can see, the car didn't drop a millimeter at the front. I took the tape off, but the car's still raised. And the pipe that goes to the front is disconnected, so that means those valves are sealing absolutely perfect, but we already knew that anyway. And the airbags are not leaking, same goes to the rear ones. So hopefully this was the only issue, was that the pump was taking too long, was leaking in there and was taking too long to fill the reservoir. I don't know if that's how quick the reservoir should drop the pressure. Obviously the pressure is not going to be there forever, it's going to drop slightly. I don't know how quick it should drop, but there is no leaks, as I said, unless there's a really tiny pinhole that I can't really see what it is. But if there is, that means replacing the entire reservoir, which, judging by the amount of rust that's on it, I don't really want to have to go that route. This reservoir is really bad. It goes all the way up to the front, and that is in a quite bad shape there, so I don't really want to touch it there. As you can see, it's in really bad shape. But guys, hopefully this will be the problem. So I'm gonna wait for the parts. He's gonna bring me the parts and then we'll carry on. In the meantime, we're gonna maybe have a look at that thing in there. Okay, and about a week later we do have the parts, which I'll take you through in a second. In the meantime, I was just here looking at this old unit, and I would just like to, actually I'm not going to replace everything here because I have the bracket here. I'm just going to say that obviously I gave all the options to the owner, but if this was mine, obviously it would be my time, my labor, it wouldn't bother me too much. I would probably start by trying to replace this bottom end. You can get this bottom end with new inserts, etc. And that would be probably what I would try first. That said, the leak was not massive, and the amount of time that the compressor was taking to fill the reservoir was a little bit quite long. And that sort of leak, that pressure dropping, was also a little bit concerning. Although when we made the test with the air compressor, we've seen no leaks anywhere, so I'm a little bit try to see where that leak is coming from. But yeah, the compressor was taking a little bit long to fill the reservoir, so could be as well, or it might be as well, that there is something that the compressor is not as efficient as it should be. So anyway, let's go one step at a time Obviously, the owner decided to go for everything brand new, or aftermarket brand new, I would say. But yeah, we're gonna just install the new parts, and we'll go from there. Okay, and the new pump is now in place, along with the new valve block, etc. So new pump is there, just that cover to put back in, but obviously we're gonna give it a go first. So I think I'm gonna get the car out of the stands, put it on the floor, and then fill up the system. Okay, I know I already mentioned a few times, but look at this. Even a week later, I dropped the car now. The reservoir is completely empty and it's still pretty much at normal height. So there's definitely no leaks at the front of the car from the diverter valves to the airbags. So we're gonna clear these codes to start with. Ignition off. Back on. Okay, read codes. Okay, so obviously my reservoir is going to be empty, and what we're going to have to do now, just to have a look, where's my reservoir? The crosslinks is the crosslinks, isolation pressure sensor. Where is my reservoir? Where is the reservoir thingy? Reservoir should be here somewhere. Did I make gallery pressure? So that's nothing there. So let's I don't know if I can feel the system. No. Right, I tell you what, let's come out of this, go to service. It's going to be chassis, air suspension, deflation, suspension enable, deflation. I think maybe when I start it, it's going to try to fill the system. Let me see if that's what it does. It's going to go to diagnosis, control unit. It's going to go back to the right level module, light data. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit longer this time. So let's going to get the gallery pressure. Let's gonna get that. Let's gonna get that one. Let's gonna get that one. No, that one. That one. Pressure, temperature, motor temperature. Should do. Let's put these at the top. Right, let's gonna start it and see if he starts to fill the gallery. Indeed. Oh, there he is. Okay. Obviously the gallery was completely empty, so it's going to take a little bit longer to fill. see what it does. I want to go underneath to see if there's any leaks, obviously. That was just me selecting. This was selected for the high. I think that's where I left it anyway, isn't it? I think was where I left it. It was selected to high. It's definitely taking a little bit, isn't it? So I'm guessing that, so we stop now at 277. It's definitely where it should be, as you can see there. Let me drop it down to normal height. I need to close the door. It's going up again. It's already at the normal height. Because it's no. There we go. If I go up, yeah, it's going up. Definitely is going up. If you're going to be able to see, if I put it like this, you're not going to be able to see it. It's definitely going up. Yeah, it's definitely going up, and it's already at the highest thingy, so that's good. The pressure now is keep going up. Now the pump stopped. Don't know why it goes to these 277. Well, either way, it's not dropping anymore on the gallery, as you can see. 279, and it stays there. Before it was dropping really quick, if you guys remember. I think I'm happy to say this is fixed. Let me just go out to see how high it is. Yeah, it's definitely higher. Definitely higher. Oh yeah, it's definitely all the way up. Yeah. So what we're going to do now is going to put the cover, because I think we have a fix. We're going to put the handle cover in place and hopefully go for a test drive. And if it drives okay, wrap up this video. But I know it's nothing special, guys. It looks like it was just a compressor replacement. Replace that valve block just as a preventive, well, just in case. for about 30 quid. It was not that much money anyway. And so yeah, we're gonna go for a quick drive and see how it goes. Okay guys, and I'm now driving for about some good, I think that clock is wrong. I'm driving for about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes maybe. It's driving absolutely perfect. One of the things I wanted to look at is that gallery pressure. If you remember before, was just constantly dropping. It wouldn't stop dropping. As you can see now, is at 259 and is just stopped in there. When the pump kicks in, obviously the valve opens and that puts the gallery to about 1500 or 1600 kilopascals, and now as you can see it's stopped in there, which was not doing it before. So I'm just going to carry on driving a little bit longer, but so far there's no faults, no nothing, so I'll deem this as fixed. But let's gonna drive a little bit more and then drive back home, and hopefully if nothing else happens, wrap up this video. Okay, and just drove back home, no faults, no issues, the car is driving absolutely perfect. So I think that's it guys. In the end, with just a bad compressor by the looks of it and some connections, obviously the problem with the steering, and that's about it. So with no further ado, hope you enjoyed the video, hope you learned something. I know it was nothing special, but hey, who knows. If you do still have any questions or any comments, you guys know exactly how it works, just put them below. And like always, thank you for watching.